I think I finally gathered all of my extra homeschool supplies, so stationery, art supplies and all those things that we need for the year ahead. And I figured before I'd open everything and sort it into my rolling cart, I'd share it with you. If you're anything like me and love resources and educational supplies, then I hope you enjoy this little glimpse at what we've bought. So now that my kids are all teenagers, my youngest is turning 14 this year, our homeschool supply purchases are somewhat different than what they were, say, 5 years ago. I'm no longer bringing in all those cool, fun, educational toys into the house. So this is really stationery and art supplies. And tip of the day, because we homeschool, we do not need to be lining up in the back to school supply aisle with every other family. I always, unless there's something that I really, really need and want and I don't want to miss out on it, but other than that, I always wait until just before school's gone back or once school has started back, because everything's discounted. I mean, most of what I bought was 20, 30, 40 and even several half price items. So that's my big tip when buying back to school supplies. If you can, wait until school has actually gone back and then hit the stationery aisles in the stores, and you'll be surprised at the absolute bargains that you will get. Right, let's get stuck into it. This is in no order, it's just whatever I pull out and show you. Alright, so boring, I've got a new sharpener. Again, this is probably something that I should invest a little bit more in because they never last, these sheet ones. They always break really easily. If anyone's got great sharpener recommendations, let me know. Some erasers. This is one item that I don't just buy the cheapest on the shelf because they don't work. They're rubbish. Cheap erasers are rubbish. So always spend that little bit more. And again, if you wait until they're clearing them out, they're generally not that much more expensive than the cheap ones anyway. We always need some new sketchbooks. I always check these and try not to buy, again, the cheapest in Visual Art Diary. So this one is 125 GSM. So the pages are just a little bit thicker, especially if your kids like to paint and watercolor. If they're just a pencil drawing type kid, then a thinner page is fine. But if you want to have paints, you need to spend a little bit of extra, I think, and just get the pages that are slightly thicker and slightly more robust. Nothing worse than a nice watercolor page that has holes in it. Okay. Oh, these were a bargain buy. These were 50% off. You know, we don't use anywhere near as much glue these days as what we used to, but I got, what have I got? So 6 tubs of glue plus what we still got left from last year. So we may not get through all these, but I didn't want to walk away at 50% off. I grabbed us a new pair of scissors. Most of our scissors, this is something I keep forgetting to update each year, are for small hands. And so we're finding as everyone gets bigger that the scissors are just too small. So I grabbed us another pair of scissors. Of course, a couple of extra lead pencils. We've always got 1,000,001 lead pencils flying around the house, but I always grab a couple at the beginning of the year as a just in case. This year, I also grabbed some erasable pens. I don't know about you, but here in our home, we never really made that leap from going from pencil to pen. Remember, you used to get your pen license, you had to prove that you could write well in pen and not make mistakes, and that was just never really a thing here. And even my older teens are generally still writing in pencil. So I have to remind myself to transition them into pens. And these are the Pilot erasable pens, which I have never tried. So I figured I would try them in my planners, because I even use pencil in my planners because of that reason as well. So we've got a couple of packets of those to give them a try. I saw these highlighters, so just nice thin ones, not those traditional really thick highlighters. So I quite like the look of those for planners and, you know, the kids highlighting work, especially in language arts. We use highlighters quite a bit with highlighting spelling words and grammar and vocab and all that sorts of things. Just some regular ballpoint pens. I think that I probably got these before I picked up the Eraserpool. Some more whiteboard markers. This is what happens when you don't check your supply and you double up and buy 2 of each. So I'm not sure, I might give them away or just put them in the cupboard. And then I brought some fun, bright colours because we use our whiteboard probably every day. So we do go through whiteboard markers. And this Expo brand has been one that I've only just adjusted to this year. The reason that I like it is that it doesn't seem to dry rock hard on your whiteboard. You know when you forget to rub the marker off the whiteboard and you come back the next day and yes, it comes off, but if you've used a black marker, oh my goodness, it's so hard to get off. And I've ruined whiteboards from doing that. Whereas I don't find that these Expo markers seem to be as strong, I guess. They don't leave that real permanent mark that some of the others can. I picked these up, World of Colours. We've got mountains of colouring pencils here, but again, this was another 50% off item, and I did like that obviously we've got all the different skin tones in here, which I don't think that we have in all of our coloured pencils. Some graph books for maths, especially for my son. He uses these grid books with his maths text pretty much every single day, and he tends to use one of these each term. So he'll go through probably 4 of these in a year, depending on how much he actually does. Then of course we use these A4 just simple binder exercise books or composition books, whatever you like to call them. I like them because they hold, and we just rotate through these depending on what we're doing. So we'll use one for all our novel studies for the year, so we can either write directly in it or we can glue worksheet pages straight inside. But what I love about them is that I can store, so if each child has, you know, 3 of them for all different subjects, I can pop the subject name at the top and just store them in a ring binder, and we aren't missing or we aren't losing all of these different exercise books around the house all the time. So I've been using these regularly every year for the last few years now. So that's stationery. Let's move on to art. Again, I didn't go over the top with our art supplies. Once you've been homeschooling for years, you tend to build up a really good supply belt, but I just needed to add to some of what we already had here. And so I grabbed some metallic, just the little small ones, not the big tubes. This is the metallic acrylic set. You can see it's got a few different colours. So some nice, bright, shiny paint colours, and just a simple watercolour palette. These are pretty straightforward, but we use these weekly. So our other ones are getting down and really quite low. So I needed a new one of those. I thought I could probably invest in some new watercolour paintbrushes. So this one comes with a full zip, so we can do it up and hopefully not lose any. I don't like my chances of that very much though. And oh, I got this aqua brush, like a watercolor aqua brush. So you put your actual water in there and it flows through with the brush. So I thought the kids might enjoy trying that out. And my daughter especially quite enjoys working with clay, all different types of modelling clay, Fimo. So I grabbed some more modelling tools for her. And another impulse, but it was on again, I think 40% off or something like that, with this set of pens. So heaps of pens, a huge variety of colours, all from Kaisercraft. I haven't even opened it, so let's open it up and have a little look. Oh yeah, so they are double. So you've got a chisel tip end, and then you've got the fine point end. So we've got a huge variety of marker colours here. This wasn't the biggest box either that I grabbed. So this is 60, and I think there was 100, something like that, but I just felt that that was just a bit over the top pricey. So I'm interested to see how these go. Basically, it says that they're quick drying, so we'll just see how they last, how the kids find them, as to whether it's something that I would recommend. That's it. A super quick one for you today, but that's all our stationery and our art, or the new stationery and art that I'm now going to sort through and put away into my rolling cart so that we can actually properly get started with our year.